In the world at large right now, there is a major debate going on in the form of whether people should or shouldn't take the COVID-19 vaccination. To be clear, you absolutely should. Because the more people that take the vaccine, which has proven many times over to work and limit the effects of COVID on the body, the more we can return to the world that we had pre-pandemic. But even with that body of evidence, some are still taking stances against it. Key among them is NBA star Kyrie Irving, who refuses to take the vaccine and might miss a lot of playing time as a result. Allow us to show you Kyrie Irving to retire from playing basketball for Brooklyn Nets if they trade him for Ben Simmons. No vaccinated. To boil this down to a very simple stat, Kyrie Irving is the only player in the NBA who currently can't play with his team due to a coronavirus vaccine mandate. New York City requires that everyone be vaccinated in order to enter public spaces like the Barclays Center or Madison Square Garden. San Francisco and Los Angeles have implemented similar mandates, although the LA one won't apply to Staples Center. As Irving is still unvaccinated, he would only be eligible to play for the Nets on the road, though the team has said that he can't participate at all until he either gets vaccinated or the mandate is lifted. Irving broke his silence on the issue last week on an Instagram live session and said he's standing up for those who have lost their jobs by refusing to get the free and safe vaccine, which has been administered millions of times around the globe already. Irving, an avid conspiracy theorist, has also reportedly been pushing anti-vaccine conspiracy theories within league circles. Though the league is around 96% vaccinated already, Irving isn't the lone holdout. There are others, including Washington Wizards star Bradley Beal, Mavericks guard Trey Burke, and more, who haven't received a COVID-19 vaccine yet. NBA response. Obviously, this talk got the attention of the NBA as a whole, including the commissioner Adam Silver, who noted many things about Kyrie. I'm not sure if fair is the right way to approach it because there's nothing fair about this virus, Silver said via ESPN. It's indiscriminate in terms of who it impacts, and I think it's perfectly appropriate that New York and other cities have passed laws that require people who both work and visit arenas to be vaccinated. That seems to be a responsible public health decision made by those locales, and those are the circumstances in which the Nets find themselves operating. I accept that. I think that we understand as a league we have to play the cards that are dealt. Just in the same way, there are variations from market to market. I know there are players in some markets who would prefer that their local governments pass ordinances requiring that all the fans be vaccinated who are in the buildings with them. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, frankly, I hope that Kyrie despite how strongly he feels about the vaccination, ultimately decides to get vaccinated because I'd love to see him play basketball this season. And I'd love to see the Brooklyn Nets have their full complement of players on the floor. Something that could have made this saga much easier for the NBA is if it would have implemented a vaccine mandate for players. The Players Association, however, struck a deal with the league that didn't require a mandate. Officials, coaches, staff members, and others involved with the NBA all do have to be vaccinated. Silver said he wishes that the NBPA would have agreed to vaccinations, both to make things safer for everyone and to prevent the issue from becoming an adversarial one like it is now. I won't try to speak for the NBPA other than the view that some players had. I think, including maybe some players who are vaccinated, that it should be an individual choice among the players. Silver said via ESPN, I would have preferred that ultimately that the Players Association agreed to mandatory vaccinations. The officials union agreed to mandatory vaccinations despite opposition from some of their members. But ultimately, I think we could have avoided a lot of the adversarial nature of these issues for our players. It's not so much with the league. I think that gets confused in some cases. Charles Barkley. Naturally, due to everything going on with Kyrie and his refusal to get the vaccine for the safety of himself, others, and if for nothing else, the league, many have sounded off with some not-so-kind words. This goes especially for Hall of Famer Charles Barkley, who minced no words and talked about how it bugged him that Kyrie was holding out on the league. Barkley also rejected misguided comparisons of Irving to late boxer Muhammad Ali, who was banned from boxing for 3 years after refusing the draft into the Vietnam War. "People say he's like Ali," said Barkley. "Don't compare anybody to Ali. Irving is still gonna make $17 million sitting at home," Barkley noted. Barkley also took issue with fellow former NBA player Kenny Smith's sympathy for Irving, who has said he's refusing the vaccine because it's what's best for me. "First of all, you don't get the vaccine for yourself, you get it for the other people," Barkley said. "I got vaccinated. I can't wait to get the booster. You don't get vaccinated just for yourself. Like NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said, you get vaccinated for your family first, you get vaccinated for your teammates second. I think everybody should get vaccinated," Barkley added, noting he was proud of the Nets for putting their foot down and for saying, "No, we're not going to deal with this half on, half off and allow Irving just to play on the road." How this affects the Nets. Issues of public health and safety, which, make no mistake, are exactly what's at play here, remain far bigger than their impact on a basketball team's everyday operations and championship chances. But beyond the many more important dynamics at work here, there is a basketball team, a title favorite, that must find itself independent of its third most important player and a veritable superstar. The kind for which there's no formula effective enough or committee large enough to simply replace. That doesn't actually appear to be the case at first glance. Brooklyn still has Kevin Durant and James Harden, 2 of the 5 best basketball players alive. It will find no sympathy for its plight beyond the direct fan base. The Nets are, on paper, a contender without Kyrie. Some would dare to say they remain the foremost favorites. However, as last year showed, when the 3 are on the court together and at full power, they're almost unstoppable. But when one of them is out, they have flaws that can be exploited, which is why they didn't make it to the NBA Finals despite this loaded roster. Furthermore, the Nets now have to deal with all the backlash and media asking and talking about Kyrie endlessly until he makes a decision once and for all. Which is why some are talking about a Ben Simmons trade. Because if there is a more cantankerous situation between a player and team in the NBA right now that isn't Kyrie and the Nets, it's Ben Simmons and the 76ers, who are having their own intense standoff for more personal reasons. Since these 2 players are in turmoil with their teams, many think that a swap would be an easy way to settle all problems. Except, Kyrie Irving has said that he would retire should anyone even think about doing that to him. What's more, the 76ers would be left holding the bag, more than likely, as Kyrie has 1 more year on his contract and then can just walk out of the team entirely. So it's not the best situation all around. Would Kyrie retire? In a few words, in a heartbeat. Kyrie has always marched to the beat of his own drum since finding his true self in Cleveland. He smack-talked LeBron, promised a lot of things for the Celtics before ditching, still believes the earth is flat, and so on. So, if he gets traded and he feels the league is against him in any way, yeah, he'd retire and just live on the millions and millions that he's made over the years. It wouldn't bother him at all. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at Kyrie Irving and how his decision to go out and not take the vaccine and thus limit his playing time with the Nets and even maybe retiring will affect the entire NBA this season? Are you shocked that Kyrie is doing this? Or does this not surprise you at all, given all that he has done in the past? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel.